Welcome, everyone, to the Brogressive podcast. This is officially, I think, the 11th episode. Kind of crazy to say out loud, but do want to thank everyone that has been watching and continuing to, go on this journey with us. We're really excited to talk about the NFL once again, right? That's what we all love out here. But we're joined by Ben, obviously, and then Dylan, who was not in the last episode because he was traveling, but he is back. And real quick, Ben, if you just want to go over the records so far, see who's ahead, and then we can go from there.
So Beleh had a bit of a comeback this week. He was in last place going in, but last week we all went with the Chiefs and we all went with the Lions, the two Brogressive unanimous picks. We went 1-1 there, and then we split for Bills, Ravens, and Rams, Eagles. Me and Dylan were on the wrong side of that, so me and Dylan ended up going 1-3, and Beleh and Luis went 3-1. That brings us to a total now for the whole playoffs. Me and Beleh are 5-5 now. Dylan is 6-4 in second place, and Luis, though not present, is apparently an oracle, and he is 7-3. So that's what we're looking at.
We should add a loss to him for not being here.
There's an appearance. There's a participation credit aspect.
Well, yeah, let's not do that because I missed the last episode, and I think I would prefer not to get an extra loss on my record.
Oh shit.
So me and Dylan went with the Rams and the Ravens. We were wrong in both cases. Pretty good close games though for both. Those were pretty fair ones, I think, to be split on.
Yeah, but I don't think the Rams had it this year to really carry it over the edge against a team like the Eagles, where you have literally the best running back ever to exist since Adrian Peterson.
Jalen Hurts.
I don't know about that. He might have
I'm just kidding.
Fucked up on that game. I think it was actually more sad to see Lamar Jackson and more specifically Mark Andrews just completely fumble that game.
Yeah,
really
brutal.
Really quite brutal against your. I feel like they're more rivals than Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes just because they're going back and forth for the MVP title. So I think that was probably an interesting game to be watching and just see it fall apart.
I was at a bowling alley. We weren't playing bowling. We just wanted to watch the game. We weren't bowling or anything, so we kind of stayed there for the end. And I remember my face just like shocked when Andrews dropped it, and then I had tweeted on the account like a meme about it, and I was like, oh my god, like now Raven fans know how like Charger fans feel with Quentin Johnson, right? Like you guys know how we feel about this, but I'm seeing some takes about how it's like it wasn't Andrews' fault. It was like Lamar's fault and the ball placement, and I don't know. At the end of the day, like if the ball was right there, you catch that ball, dude. Like there's no excuse.
It wasn't as easy as the announcers were making out to be. They were like a 1,000 out of a 1,000 that happens, but yeah, it was definitely not an easy catch, but it was doable. That was brutal. And then don't get much worse for one game, like on one guy. What was that like within the same quarter? I mean, it was brutal.
Yeah, because he had fumbled like the possession before. I think. Yeah, I mean. What can you do, Raven fans?
What did you guys think of the choice from the Bills to go for that field goal? Ended up to go up 8 instead of going up 2 scores. I liked the move, and obviously it paid off, so it's easy to say that now, but I thought it was interesting.
Well, I'm sure there's some answer about NFL statistical math, where you have to, where the touchdown is more valuable because it's worth more points. So you have to go for the risk. But I don't know. I think it's probably an interesting choice to go for it would be my take. Not the ballsiest take, or not the ballsiest choice against Lamar Jackson, who could have probably easily just come back if he was really on top of it and Mark Andrews didn't exist. But there you go.
I think also with the time remaining, I mean, like it did work out where even if the Ravens did convert the 2-point, I think the Bills would have had like a minute and some change left, and that's enough time to get. That's enough time to kick it. Yeah. I think they would have gone like a field goal. So
I wonder what like the live odds would have been, because Lamar or Josh Allen with 1:30 in the game left, like 2 timeouts, all he has to get is a field goal. I think he would be the favorite at that point, even tied.
I think he'd be able to do it regardless. Yeah.
I
don't know. It was a sad game for Raven fans, but I mean, I don't blame Lamar. I think Lamar had like a good game, and at the last possession, I think he did pretty good too. So I can't really blame him too much.
It was a perfect discourse game because it didn't solve anything. Like
nothing,
all sides of
nothing
Lamar
at all.
Playoff can claim victory. But yeah, What was your guys' favorite game of the weekend? What do you think was the most fun one to watch?
I'll be fully honest. I didn't watch the Rams game. I was on a flight. I'm not a real fan here, but I did watch the Chiefs game, and I think it was a good game to watch. It was a good, solid game. I don't think the Texans really ever had a chance in that game with some voodoo magic going on there, and Patrick Mahomes literally tripping and just somehow the ball landing in Travis Kelce's hands for a touchdown. And it continues. And you also have to admit that they're a good team and they have great coaches and great rookies, and you're the best quarterback of all time, probably, if he wins this year. And like for this upcoming matchup with the Bills, I just can't see this going any other way. It has to be Chiefs.
We'll see. I think for me,
it does feel inevitable.
It was the Ravens-Bills game, I think, just because like that game I think had the most hype going into it, and for a while it kind of looked like a dud, but second half was really good in that last possession. Like those last couple possessions were really fun to watch, and
it felt like a conference championship game. At least
it did. It fully felt like a conference championship game. And there was like snow. I thought that was like pretty cool too. And I don't know. I had hopes for like the Lions game. I thought it would be like a nice offensive matchup. I know the Commanders do have a really good defense, but I mean them getting absolutely just like demolished. Shocking. Like it's insane to think about, because I think us three had them going to the Super Bowl and winning. Luis was the one that picked the Chiefs, so
we need new picks.
I'm pretty disappointed about that, man. I think that we'll go into this segment, but I wanted to ask you guys like your guys' biggest disappointment this last week in terms of NFL play. I think it definitely has to be the Lions for me.
I'm a Niners fan, so I felt wrong doing this, but I was definitely rooting for the Rams in that game, and that last drive at the end when I think it was Puka made the catch on the sideline, some ridiculous Stafford throw that he barely, ridiculous catch. And I fully was like, okay, the Rams are 100%. They're going to drive down and score right here. And it would have been fun with all the LA stuff. I'm kind of, I enjoyed McVay on the sideline this time. It was nice not rooting against them. And I think they're a fun team to root for. And I would have liked that story a little bit. It would have been interesting.
Yeah, you've been high on the Rams. You've been picking them.
Yeah, it would have helped my predictions too. So that was the biggest disappointment.
Yeah. Well, I think, like I was saying, Mark Andrews is my biggest disappointment for this week. Not the Ravens in general, but Mark Andrews. I should put money on him dropping footballs this week. I think that would have been a great bait. I should have called my bookie and told him, I know what's going to happen. Mark Andrews is going to drop these balls. So I think that's my biggest disappointment, because I didn't even get to watch the Rams game. I was literally in the air. It's like when you were like last year at the last game of the NBA Finals. I watched the first half as the plane was taking off, my Wi-Fi cut off, and I didn't know what happened for like 8 hours. And I was like, sitting there, like, I wonder who won. I wonder if this is still going on. But
let's get some mandatory Wi-Fi on the plane. I think let's push for a law. I think it's really important so we can watch our football games, and then parents could text their children. I don't know. That's also important, I think.
Yeah. Well, President Trump, here we go.
President Trump, let's get some free Wi-Fi on every single airline. Let's do that. I mean, I could watch your speeches live. I'm making this pledge to you right now. President Trump, get us free Wi-Fi, mandated Wi-Fi in every single airline. And you can watch this podcast in the air.
Passes mandated Wi-Fi in the air, I'm not using it, just out of principle.
It's going to be called Trump Wi-Fi.
Yeah, Trump Wi-Fi.
It defaults to Truth Social.
Yeah, there you go.
We should get on that soon, actually, Loki.
You can convince him.
Besides, like, biggest disappointment, what was, like, the biggest surprise in terms of, like, a team that did pretty well or a team that surprised you in a good way?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely Commanders Lions. Obviously, we all picked Lions. I was pretty shocked, but it reminded me a little bit of, I didn't catch all of it, but it reminded me of the Niners last year, like both their playoff games where they kind of got shell-shocked early. It was Green Bay last year in the divisional round coming off the bye, and it reminded me of that. I believe it was the Green Bay game last year. The only reason the Niners got back into it was like that was when Brandon Ayuk had the ball that bounced off his head that he caught. Like it took some miracles and a lot of turnovers, and Lions weren't able to recover. I think coming off the week one, the bye, and then also just them in Minnesota both with that brutal game last week of the season, and it seems like it took a lot out of both teams. So
that's a good point.
But that was surprising.
Yeah, I think it has to be that. I think the skill and the amount of pressure and the amount of experience that NFL rookie QBs are coming into with the league literally just, was it last year? CJ Stroud was like making history by going as far as a NFL rookie has in however many years. And I feel like just like Jaden Daniels, I heard somebody today say that Jaden Daniels is the truth. I don't think you can not say that at this point. He has to be the man of the moment, and hopefully he'll take his team. And my girlfriend is from DC, so I kind of have to say that the Washington Commanders are probably my team for the rest of the NFL playoff.
Wow. Whoever's playing against the Chiefs, I'm a fan of. So
yeah,
I think for me the biggest, I mean, like, Commanders, yes, I can't lie, like that surprised me the most. I have to say them, but I also think like the Bills played a complete game, right? I think like all sides of the ball were good. I think Josh Allen had a good game. I think he had like 2 rushing touchdowns too. Not necessarily a surprise, but I feel like they despite what the score, shows, they commanded that game for much of it.
And they were able to like slow down Derrick Henry at least enough.
Yes,
especially early.
That was a big surprise for me. I thought Derrick Henry would do more. So, I mean, their defense might actually be legit and stand a chance against the Chiefs or some dark black magic shit, and then they collapse, which could also happen. But yeah, that's it for like the past games. We gotta look into the future, guys. We gotta be Brogressive like that and look in the future. But Ben, you kind of went over the records. I do want to just go over real quick wild card round records. Ben was one. Wait, wild card round record? No, the divisional. So the divisional round records.
Yes.
Ben was 1-3. Ben, how does that feel? 1-3.
It was a rough week, but I have Dylan suffering the same fate, so we're gonna get through this together.
Yeah, Dylan also 1-3. Damn. Over here, I made a comeback. 3-1, baby. 3-1. The Lions, you guys really played a game on me, but Luis is also 3-1, so I can't be the only one that holds that mantle. But total, Ben, you're 5-5, wild card and divisional so far. Dylan, you're 6-4. Okay, Dylan. I am 5-5, so I'm tied with Ben, and then Luis is number 1 at 7-3. But we don't have that many games left, but looks like I might not be last place. There might be some hope.
See, it's going to come down to the last few games. I don't know if Luis has. I think he's going to need some upsets and some brave picks from us to have any chance of losing that first place. So
yeah,
we got to be bold.
Lord, I mean, yeah, but essentially, I mean, let's go into this real quick before we go into that. Ben Johnson to the Bears. I think we kind of discussed about that because there were some rumors about him going to the Raiders, but I was like, I'd rather go to the Bears. You have the cap space, defense is solid, you have the QB, and it looks like that did happen. It happened pretty quickly. Did you guys see the video of Caleb Williams being pranked like last weekend? So some like fans pranked Caleb Williams. They got his number and they acted like they were Ben Johnson, texting him like, "Hey, it's Ben. It's not like finalized to the media, but I'm going to be the next coach." He completely believes it. FaceTimes the kid that's like 17 years old, and the kid's like, Caleb, really good sport. He was laughing about it. They were all laughing about it. But it looked like that did actually happen. So Ben Johnson is now the coach of the Chicago Bears. I think they're going to be a really fun team to watch. He's like a really good offensive mastermind. We'll see what Detroit does. I mean, what do they do at offense now? Because I had one of my friends who was like, "Wait, Beleh, did you know that Dan Campbell doesn't call offensive plays?" I'm like, "Yeah, he doesn't." And then my friend's like, "What does he do?" I'm like, "He's a motivational speaker, but he's a pretty good one." Like, yeah, he's good at management too, and clock management, and yeah, but like, yeah, he doesn't call their offensive plays or anything. So I think that's like, I think Chicago finally did something good besides drafting Caleb Williams, right? They actually are pairing him with a great offensive mastermind, which is like the best thing you could give a rookie heading into his sophomore year.
Yeah, I think
besides a really good O-line, obviously.
Yeah, that's really all it's going to come down to. But
Beleh, are you going to forget that Caleb Williams was a member of the UFC Trojans? Are you really?
Oh yeah, I know.
Are you going to stroke his ego that much that you're going to betray our own school?
Look, as much as I hate to say it, like, I think he's good, and I want to root for the kid. Like, there's nothing like, but that's the one factor. Like, even like that was the reason why I was kind of rooting against Sam Darnold a bit too. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, he's with Chicago now, and I like Ben Johnson a lot. So, we'll see what happens. He was at like the USC basketball game, but whatever.
Bears 0-17, 2025-2026 season.
Let's go. I know, but then Keenan Allen will suffer if he goes back. I don't want Keenan to suffer.
It's the downfall of Caleb Williams. That's all I care about at this point.
We'll see. Other than that, I mean, do we have any other? I mean, Vrabel to the Patriots. We kind of all talked about that. We saw that coming
a little bit.
Yeah. What do you guys think of that? I mean, reunification.
I think it's a good move. I mean, they probably should have done it last year and maybe would have if they didn't have like the weird quid pro quo thing. So I don't know. It's a good move. It seems like a perfect fit. Obviously, he's got the history there. I think they should be fun going forward we'll see what they do with that pick that should have been a first overall pick. So that's why you fire the head coach not before the game where they're fighting for their job and you're fighting for a pick, but
it's a good point. Good point. Okay, let's just go straight into the games this weekend. We have 2 pretty big games, unless you guys want to cover anything else. But we got the first game, which is going to be Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. We have the Washington Commanders versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are favorites here, minus 6.5. And I don't know. I think that I'm going to go with the Eagles because of the run game. It's in Philly. And at the end of the day, like, Jayden Daniels has been a really good quarterback, but I think Jalen Hurts is who I want in that matchup. He's more experienced. He's been to a Super Bowl. And I think that the pressure will eventually get to Jayden Daniels. I mean, it's really hard not to, feel that pressure, especially in the NFC Championship game. So I'm going with the Eagles. What do you guys think?
And you go for it.
All right. Well, I wouldn't be shocked if Jayden Daniels doesn't succumb to the pressure necessarily, but the team as a whole, I think is still probably a year early. I think the Eagles just kind of outlast them. Run game ends up wearing down the defense, and then just a few explosive plays with Saquon, and that's all it takes to put it out of hand. But I wouldn't be surprised if Washington comes out looking good. The take coming out of it is that Jayden Daniels is still the real deal, and they're just a year away, and the Eagles are built for the long run. It feels right that the Eagles are gonna move on to the Super Bowl. That feels right to me, and I don't know. Washington would be fun though, but I think it's the easy answer. Saquon's gonna dominate, and they're gonna overpower.
My hot take is that Jason Kelce's aura is no longer in Philadelphia, and looking at regular season matchups, whenever the Eagles and the Commanders have played each other, they're 1-1 regular season. They're both within 1 scores. I know the Eagles are favorited in the over/under odds, but crazier upsets have happened in this league. So my pick is the Commanders because I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on this one.
Gutsy. It's pretty gutsy. Okay.
Yeah.
Wants to overtake.
I mean, their defense. Their defense has been amazing, guys. That Jayden Daniels has been playing really good too, but that defense is really good.
Yeah.
It makes sense when you have Dan Quinn.
Eagles opened as 5-point favorites. It's grown to minus 6.5.
Okay.
I don't know if anything's happened behind the scenes, any injury or anything, but
I think it was more certain that Jalen Hurts. I mean, I think Jalen Hurts. Yeah, it was more certain that Jalen Hurts is going to play, so that's why it's minus 6.5 now. But Luis also picked the Eagles, and I mean, yeah, he also picked the Eagles for that game. So it looks like we're all going with the Eagles except Dylan. So Dylan, this is your chance to maybe tie Luis, and it looks like Ben and I aren't going to have much separation here. So we might at least we'll be tied for last place unless we both pick different Super Bowl teams.
Well, let's beat out Dylan. That's all that matters.
Yeah. The next game is the Buffalo Bills, led by Josh Allen, and the Kansas City Chiefs, led by Devil Magic King Patrick Mahomes. Taylor Swift, I do love you, but you're messing with a team that deals with devil magic. It's also on Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. It's on CBS and Paramount Plus. And for this game, the Chiefs are favorites. It looks like the -2. So I'll let you guys go first for this game, and then I'll make my prediction at the end.
Well, this is the AFC matchup. I don't think it's too good. It's too good. You can't choose anybody else. You have crazy speedy rookie wide receivers. You have crazy, weirdly geriatric but old Travis Kelce still making touchdown plays. You have Patrick Mahomes and his sacrifice of young children in the back rooms of the Chiefs Stadium. So I think this is the team to three-peat
Pizza
to
Gate
finally go to the
2.0.
NFL. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so Dylan's going with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, my gut completely tells me to go with the Bills. I feel like Kansas City, the consensus, maybe there's been an overcorrection, and everyone's just oh, well, obviously the Chiefs are going to somehow pull it out, and maybe this one time Bills kind of just come in with so much energy that they overpower that and end up winning by a 2-score margin. I wouldn't be shocked, but I can't listen to my gut. I got to go with the Chiefs. I got to fall with the crowd. I would feel dumb picking against the Chiefs and them pulling the same shit again. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs, but I very much feel like there's a chance that the line is just everyone is betting heavy on the Chiefs and everyone's assuming they're gonna pull through once again, and maybe they don't. And maybe the media, the NFL takes note and sends out a little thing to the refs to extra not get them in hot water. So I'm sure that doesn't happen, but couldn't rule that out. So I don't know.
Can't rule that out.
I'm gonna go with Chiefs though.
So Luis is also going with the Kansas City Chiefs, just for the record. And Ben, you brought out something interesting. I think that the Buffalo Bills are going to win so big that it's going to be too big to rig. That's what I think it's going to be. It's going to be too big to rig, guys. No, I think the Bills are going to win. And I'm not just saying this so I can get ahead of Ben if the Chiefs lose. My heart says it, but also there's something in my gut that says it too. I think that we've all been expecting the Chiefs just to win again and win in these odd ways that involve devil magic. But I really think, I believe the Bills, their defense is good. Josh Allen is playing good. Their O-line's been playing good. I just don't see why they don't win. Patrick Mahomes is the reason why they don't win, right? Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid, Mr. Andy Cheeseburger Reid. I think that the Bills win this one. I think it's going to be close, 3 points. They win by a field goal, and my heart says the Bills are going to win, but I also think something in my gut tells me the Bills are going to win, and if the Bills do win, I get to tell the three of you that I told you so, and I am right, and Beleh is always right. So, and Ben will be the loser going into the Super Bowl. So,
and I'll extra regret it because I really, everything you say I completely agree with. I think the Bills
playing good,
and it does feel right. It caps off the Josh Allen perfect
MVP
year
potential.
Yeah, Haley Steinfeld afterwards Super Bowl celebration.
And it's not and it's going to be cold in Kansas City, right? But the Bills play in Buffalo, so that doesn't even matter. That doesn't affect them. If anything, it's warmer in Kansas City.
Yeah, so my gut agrees with me or agrees with you, but we'll see.
Let's see. I honestly, betting against the Chiefs is also a bad bet, but that's it. We're gonna break the devil magic, guys. We're gonna break it.
I'm supporting the devil magic.
The interesting thing about this is that if Beleh's right and Ben is wrong about the Bills and the Chiefs, then has to pick the opposite team that Beleh picks for the Super Bowl in order to make it a tie.
Wow. Or you could lose on the other one. You're Washington, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, I guess, with you too.
This does make it pretty fun, though. Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of intricate.
Although I kind of feel like maybe this is just me, but I kind of think all of us are probably just going with the AFC team for the Super Bowl, right? That's kind of where I'm at.
I don't know. If it's the Eagles, it's going to be tough. I think if it's the Commanders,
well, let's get into it. So all three of us, Luis is the only one with a Super Bowl prediction still standing. We all went with the Detroit Lions. So let's make our new picks. Hopefully they last longer than a week, but we will see.
Man.
Yeah, I feel like the reason why I agree with Beleh's logic. If it is the Commanders in the Super Bowl, they have already beaten a Super Bowl worthy team in the Lions. Maybe they didn't play like a Super Bowl worthy team in that game, but if you're beating the Lions, that's part of my logic too. Is if you're playing the Eagles, who are a Super Bowl team, Super Bowl contender each year, you already beat the Lions, you beat the Eagles too. It's like a coronation ceremony out almost at that point.
Who do you, Dylan? So who would you pick if you had to guess today who's going to win the Super Bowl? Would it be the Eagles?
Isn't that for next week's podcast?
No, but we gotta update our picks.
We gotta update our picks. Where all three of us are eliminated. Luis's pick the only one that stands.
Okay. Wait, so Super Bowl matchup between Chiefs and Commanders?
No, it's anything. You got to pick.
Well, you picked. Yeah, so according to your prediction, it's
yeah. I guess you got to kind of be consistent.
Chiefs and Commanders. Yeah, so you got to line that up.
Okay, so it'd have to be, dude.
No.
Where do I go here now? I'm just spewing so much bullshit. I don't even know what to pick at this point. Give me the Chiefs.
Yeah,
make it a 3-peat. Patrick Mahomes, Michael Jordan. What's the difference? They're the same person, basically.
Real and true.
LeBron better.
I'm going Chiefs as well. I gotta stick with it. But I'd pick whatever AFC team. If it's Bills, I'll end up going Bills.
Okay. I've been thinking about this, guys. I really think it's the Eagles. Something really tells me it's the Eagles' year. It just makes, I don't know, they lost, what was it, 2 years ago they lost. I feel like it's their, like, if they go back, I think they're going to win it. Like, I don't know, man. It's like the ghost of Jason Kelsey, right? He's there on the sidelines commentating, and
He's the Obi-Wan ghost
he's
on the
Obi-Wan
sides.
ghost. I think it's the Eagles. I think that
It
Jalen
would
Hurts
make sense,
wins.
like, big picture wise, like, if you just look at it as, like, they made it to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, went and
The
got
Eagles
Saquon
are tough.
and
Yeah,
upgraded.
and the Eagles are like a tough team, man, like a physically tough team. And having Saquon, especially in the Super Bowl, that's huge. That is huge.
Would be huge. That would be huge. I think there is a great reason to say that whoever has Saquon is just going all the way. I don't disagree with that. I agree
It's
with
the
that
NBA
logic.
playoffs logic of the best player in the matchup. That team wins. Wouldn't be. Although then you're going against Mahomes, but still,
Yeah.
there's an argument, especially this year, that Saquon's the most impactful.
Yeah, I think he is the most valuable, like, player. If you want to go, like, straight up by value, I think he's been the most valuable player. Like, he's been insane for the Eagles.
Not most valuable quarterback, most valuable player.
No, just
Underlying
most valuable
player.
player. Yeah, just
Yeah.
straight up player. I think, like, in
I'm
total.
hoping Philly's painting they're doing the blueprint for the Niners next year. A low year, Super Bowl hangover.
You guys still
come
have
back
Brandon
even
Staley or
stronger.
what?
I don't know. And apparently, we're kind of putting all the eggs in the Robert Saleh basket.
Yeah,
from what
I
I've seen,
saw
'cause a lot
that.
of the defensive coordinators have signed that we would have otherwise gotten. But
As
I'd
long
love
as you
to have
guys have
Saleh
Brandon
back.
Staley, you guys aren't going anywhere, man.
I don't even know what fake position they gave him. It was
He's
some
like defensive run. I don't know what he is either.
No, it was even like faker than that. It was something
Assistant.
like advisor, like he was
Let's find out.
in some big picture role. But I don't know if he's responsible for the defense last year.
Assistant head coach. Okay, that is a pretty fake
Assistant
position,
head coach. Yeah, there you go. So I don't really know what that entails, but I didn't like the results last
Hey, I
year.
guess to live in what? Where do they practice? Santa Clarita.
Yeah,
Wait,
right by
Santa Clara.
Topgolf.
Santa Clarita is in LA. Oh my god.
The Santa Clara.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. I'll take that.
It's a nice area for sure.
Yeah. Any last thoughts from you guys about what we're heading into this weekend? I mean, nothing really important happened this week.
No,
Yeah.
no, definitely.
I'm really excited for these games. I think it was a great weekend. I enjoyed watching all these games, even with my team out. I haven't experienced this in a while. I've been lucky, so but it's been fun. I'm excited for both these games. I think they're really exciting matchups, and I could see a lot of different things happening. So,
Ben, you're telling me that you
too.
didn't see your team lose by like 18 points in person?
I did not. I did go. I went last year to the Warriors Sacramento Kings play-in game, and I saw the Warriors get blown out in the Klay Thompson 0 for 15 live. That was a fun experience.
You saw that in person?
I saw that in person. I was laughing.
It's almost
with
as
my
bad as
fellow
me
Warrior
seeing
fans.
Herbert throw 3 interceptions because I left like 5 minutes early.
No, it's not. No, it's not, Beleh. That's like Herbert going 0-26.
Yeah.
That's really bad.
It was like, yeah, it wasn't just the end of a season. It was the end. It was like, oh, this team sucks now, and
end of an era.
It's over. Yeah.
I thought the Lakers packed you guys, like sealed that era when we beat you guys in the.
Yeah, but there was a glimmer of hope remaining, and then
was there? I think that
brilliant
game 6
minds that brought you
off.
Chris Paul for Jordan Poole did not.
Yeah,
they weren't.
I'm excited
chess.
for these games. I'm excited for these games too. Dylan, anything you're looking out for?
I think this weekend has just been God, guns, Trump, and football. That's
TikTok is back, baby.
There you go.
That one night of political stunt they had. Oh my god! All my friends texting me, "What's happening?" I'm like, guys, it's gonna be back. This is a political stunt.
No, I was so annoyed because I've been telling multiple people in my life, like, oh,
they did not have to do this. They did not have to
I've
shut
been
down.
telling people for months, actually, like, oh, it's not really gonna get banned. It's like fake. They're gonna figure something out. Like, I'd be shocked. Yeah. And then I was like, they were all bragging for like 5 hours, and I was like, damn, they didn't even have to do it. It was completely a stunt.
I mean, smart tactic by them though, because we know how Trump operates.
Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah.
But
I mean, the MVP Kamala Harris, she's back in LA. She's back in her house at Brentwood, pretty close to Dylan and I, and she landed in LA. First thing she did was go to a food bank and meet with some of the fire victims up in Pasadena. Literally, first thing she did. She didn't even go home. So she's been posting a lot today and yesterday. I don't think she's out of public life, guys. You don't post the next day.
A gun to your head. What's her next move?
Governor.
I'm leaning. Yeah,
governor.
I'm leaning governor.
Oh my! With these fires, especially, she's gonna.
And you need someone who's not associated with Gavin Newsom
or just
somebody
California right now. Yeah,
you hear about it and it's like Gavin fucking Newsom. I need him out of the goddamn governor's mansion in Sacramento.
I think he's done a solid job. He's been down here in LA for like 3 weeks now, I think.
Yeah. He's definitely been a good governor so far, especially since he's making.
Did you see the permit thing he did today? He's
No,
eliminating a lot of the permitting to get rid of the rubble, so you could start rebuilding. They're speedlining they're speedlining the process pretty quick.
I think he's done fine. I have kind of a take that I don't think it may have been different in the past, but I don't think in today's era with social media that a disaster, especially a natural disaster hitting you, can be a political positive, really. I think social media is so easy. The facts don't really matter. Anything can spread. Any idea, any perceived failure of the government that is probably...
It's hard.
There's no other option. Like, there's nothing that could have been done.
It's about optics.
Yeah. The only counterexample, I guess, would be like Shapiro when that like bridge fell, but that's a very contained thing that has like a fixable, like concrete way to actually do something. So I feel like nowadays something hitting your state, you're fucked. There's not much.
I think it's difficult, and I also think, I don't know. Like DeSantis with the hurricanes, but he's like been doing this for a while, so he kind of gets the reception he receives. But I think, Dylan, what do you think she does? I think governor. Ben, you agree, governor?
Yeah, I was leaning that she probably wants to keep 2028 open, and I feel like it's
she can keep it open with running. Yeah,
I don't know if she can. I think that's a tough. If she frames it as like she's the opposition leader as she's running for governor, I could see it, I guess, but it's pretty hard to immediately be like, she'd have to announce her campaign immediately after taking office as governor.
I don't think so. If anything, this election cycle showed us the election cycles don't need to be a year and a half long, and I think she showed us that, right?
Yeah, but I think you could do the exact counterexample that I almost think fits better of Trump, where he announced immediately after the midterms, and that kind of made him ubiquitous.
But I think
it made it so everyone else who came after.
I think Trump's just a way different phenomenon because let's say I even think if he announced much later, he still would have won the nomination.
He probably would have. Same thing
with her. I think I actually disagree. I don't think she needs to be the opposition leader. I think she needs to run as, we're going to fix X, Y, and Z in California. I'm going to do a good job about this. We're going to focus on California. That first year, like to 2027, the first 4 months, right? She gets all these bills passed. They're cleaning up the state, whatever it is. And then let's say beginning of 2028, like December-ish, she announces her candidacy. I could even see the DNC moving some of the primaries a little bit further down the road for that too.
I hope not. Get her out of national politics, please.
No, man, no.
I do think that there is a path to her to reframe her image.
There is.
As governor.
And it starts with being governor of California.
I'm cracking down on the crazy in California. I'm taking us back. I'm making California great again, basically. Like
cleaning it up, whatever it is.
But making her like kind of this moderate, like not the crazy
build
left
more
image.
Shit. Exactly. Yeah. I think that's what.
I do think also, like, I agree more with Ben's take on, like, her turnaround in a campaign. If she was going to run for governor and she had to turn around 2027 and be like, okay, I'm launching my campaign super late, I think the main problem that voters had with Kamala was that they just didn't know who she was. That was like...
Well, I think they know who she is now.
They obviously knew who she was. She's vice president. It's not the name recognition, it's the policy recognition, it's the background. It's like, we can paint you as the person who wants to support transgender youth being transitioned in illegal immigrant prisons or whatever that quote was, and because she was like enough of an unknown, they could paint that on her. And I don't think that's like a
I agree, but I think the best way for her to rebrand her image is by actually being a governor and governing. I think that's the way that Americans get to know her.
Yeah, but I don't think you could convincingly do that in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
You somewhat convinced me with the bills immediately, but I think it would be a little hard to be like,
orders.
I fixed California if it was that quick.
Look, I think like we just talked about, social media, optics. A lot of eyes are on her already. If she's, first of all, while she is running for governor, she's gonna get the most attention. Like we can agree by that. Like she's gonna get the most attention in the 2026 midterms, so that helps her. What she's saying on the campaign, like the campaign stage, she'll probably do some like nationally televised like debate against her opponent. Like she'll probably agree to some of that stuff, town halls for like, oh, I'm running for governor, but really I'm going to run for president later on. She has the whole 2026 election cycle where like we're forgetting that is an election cycle. And she can start positioning herself, which gives her an advantage. But hey, I'm running for California
That makes
governor.
her the opposition leader a little bit too.
Yeah,
like
Ben, you're right about
Democratic
that too.
message for the midterms.
Exactly. So all she needs to do is suck up that energy in the midterms, which she will if she runs for governor. And then, hey, 2027, take a couple months to chill, govern, come back into the national media, point to your successes. And I think it depends how the country feels about the Trump-Vance administration. If they're at 40%, I can almost assure you she runs. Like, there's no way she
That's
does
a great
not
point,
run.
actually. Because I think in the like vacuum, I think she's setting herself up more for like everything you're saying is true, but it's easier to pull off if it's 2032. JD Vance wins and like is running for re-election and she runs against it.
Exactly.
But I think you're totally right that like it's kind of like a press in case of emergency. Like if the polls are looking shitty for them around the midterm, I think that like she can easily be like, actually, let's speed this up a little bit.
And she already got 75 million votes. I mean, it depends on the circumstance and the context.
I think circumstance and context like is very important too, though, because who would you say was the opposition in 2018 to Trump? I don't think you would say it was
there was
Joe
none.
Biden,
And I think
right?
that I think that hurt us. There was none. So it just let Joe Biden come in, and he was the establishment figure.
It was. I mean,
honestly,
I guess it was
say
maybe like a Bernie Sanders,
like Elizabeth Warren did.
I don't know
Kamala Harris kind of also.
Well, actually, I think it was definitely, if you're going to fill in the case, I think it was Bernie, and it's kind of a good replica.
Yeah.
Even though like he was less so, obviously, which is why he wasn't so strong going in the primary.
Remember, he was doing the debates in town halls on CNN.
Yeah, he was a guy who had ran for president in 2016, and it was kind of like a 4-year presidential campaign where everyone knew he was going to run again.
And a lot of Dems were kind of positioning themselves closer to him.
But I don't think that like the framing of an opposition leader, it might be a picture that Kamala can paint, but it's not the reality. Like, that's why I asked the question, because like in 2018, there was no opposition leader. Maybe you could say Bernie, maybe you could say Liz Warren, maybe you could say,
I think it's more continuity with her.
Yes.
Like Bernie was kind of like, okay, well, what's his like claim to this? Oh, he might run president again. For her,
yes,
she would get so much media running for governor. Like if Hillary Clinton was running for Senate in New York again or something like in 2018, like I think she would have been like the public spotlight. I mean, she wouldn't for a million reasons that wouldn't have happened.
I think it's a little different with her and Kamala, because I don't think Democrats blame Kamala as much as they blamed Hillary. But I agree with that.
But with the Trump like comparison, I think her best chance of winning the primary, I kind of think she could win the primary no matter what if she really wants it, because just the polls are so overwhelming. And I know people compare it to like Biden or whatever in 16 or in 20, but it's not even close to the same range. Like she's dominating, and there's not a clear number two like there was with Bernie and stuff. But I think the longer she waits, and if she runs for governor, like her best strategy to win is if the default is, oh, Kamala's running again, she's going to be the nominee again. The longer that she waits and like Shapiro jumps in and all these people have already jumped in, and then it's like, oh, she's running in a primary against all these people. Like it should be a built-in thing if she wants to win.
Yes, I think the calculus in here is like, again, the Trump-Vance administration, if they start getting unpopular quickly, especially with the 2022 6 midterms, everyone's going to be looking at her, and they kind of sink to like 40%, high 30s where like Biden was. I think she's the default. I think it's really hard not to go with her when you have an unpopular administration. It's like going with Trump again. I just think that it depends. I think that she will be a lot more comfortable running for governor of a state she is from, that she's literally born in, that she knows so much about. Like, first of all,
it's a practice run on easy mode because the campaign isn't hard and she'll win.
I think the first step is like the fact that she flew in and obviously we have so much compassion for the people impacted by the wildfires. That's the first thing she did. She literally landed, heard and dug, she landed in Burbank. She usually lands, I think, in LAX, landed in Burbank, and went straight to Pasadena. All night she was there, meeting with the firefighters, meeting with the people, distributing food. Like, she knows this state really, really well. And I think she is most comfortable running. Like, her Senate run was really good, right? She had a really good Senate run, Attorney General run. Like, that was really close, but she pulled it through. So I think she is most comfortable in that position, and that will kind of allow her to grow. And if she is governor, I think a lot of Americans could be like, okay, look, she can govern. I think that was the issue with her. Where like Americans were like, well, yeah, she was a vice president, but what did she really do? Can she handle this? Like, Americans don't dislike Kamala Harris. Like, I think her favorable rating was like 47% on election night, which is pretty damn good. She had a higher favorable rating than Donald Trump, but it was like, can she actually do the job? And I think being governor of the largest state and implementing some of these reforms, and I think she's going to be most comfortable doing that. I mean, we'll see. Again, it depends how unpopular do the Trump-Vance administration, do they get unpopular? We'll see what happens.
I think California is a place to get some easy like public dubs too, like optics wise, that actually break through, because I think it's easy to like be like, oh, I'm making these big changes in California.
Executive order. We're going to speed up housing
in California. Yeah, it's easy to be the change person in California in a place where nationally is considered pretty negative. Like,
and the legislator will listen to her. If they don't listen, they don't really listen to Newsom that much, but they'll listen to Kamala Harris because they're like, well, we want a job in her future administration if she wins.
The new era California, like rational.
Yes.
But Dylan, do you like? gun to your head, does Kamala Harris run for governor in 2026?
I think I can tie this to actually another very prominent historical California politician. I think Kamala Harris's political career so far is very similar. And if we're going down the path that you two are talking about, I think it's very similar to actually Richard Nixon. And
perfect replica. It's scary. It's scary how similar.
Somebody who served as a California senator.
They both care about the environment. Early.
Yeah, there you go. EPA. Somebody who served part of a term as senator of California, ran on the ticket to become vice president, ran in the subsequent election after the president was done with their term in office, lost, and now we're talking about 4 years later coming back again. It's not exact, but it's
no,
very
but it could be exact. It's even like more scary, similar that Nixon ran in a midterm election that was open for governor. 2 years after losing that election. It would be exact
but he waited
replica.
8 years, right, to run again?
Well, no, and then he lost the race for governor. I think we can be pretty confident if she chooses to run, that won't happen.
Okay.
And then he ran. Yeah, I believe it was 8 years after the presidential loss, 6 years after the governor's loss.
Wow.
I think
2032 would be the stand-in.
Yeah,
are Richard Nixon and Kamala Harris the same people?
Let's hope so.
I haven't seen evidence otherwise.
But I do think it would make sense, but it also 4 years in American politics is an eternity and also not very long at all. I think like a similar example is like Bernie Sanders 2016 to 2020. Like it was an eternity in the sense that his movement actually got co-opted by like everyone and their mom in the 2019-2020 Democratic primary.
Yeah.
But also he came back and was the only last remaining person against Biden and was still polling pretty well up until like it fell apart, obviously.
I was just looking at that. I was just looking at Super Tuesday. I think it's a crazy, because it is really weird to like look back at a Wikipedia article of something kind of recent like that.
They all just dropped one by one.
But looking at like Iowa and New Hampshire and Nevada before South Carolina, like how bad that Biden was doing in those early states, like 12%, and then I think
Nevada
9%.
He came in second though. That was the
well.
one.
Then so that's what changed, is that Pete almost won New Hampshire. An interesting alternate history. Pete loses New Hampshire by 1% to Bernie. If he wins New Hampshire coming off winning Iowa, technically, I feel like, does he get all the momentum and stay in? But what I was looking at is Super Tuesday.
I think Bernie would have won Nevada regardless, though.
Oh, Bernie would have won Nevada, but does the moderate coalition happen later? I saw someone say this on Twitter. An interesting move for Bernie would have been Nevada right after winning. I don't know if she would have said yes, but reaching out to Kamala and being like, let's do the ticket today, coming out Nevada.
I think I also agree that regardless, I think Kamala Harris would have been the VP nominee no matter who. I don't know,
pretty much everyone.
Bernie won. Yeah, I think if anything, she was actually more aligned with Bernie that year. So
yeah, true.
So she wouldn't have had to do all the weird positioning, like being like,
no,
that's not.
Like
that was my position, not Biden's position.
Yeah,
like,
I think that's a good point actually.
But all that to say, with like all this like positioning and stuff, I do think it's almost like a Biden-esque argument that you could make in 2028 is like, if the Trump administration is unpopular again, if you need someone to return to normalcy, who would you call besides a former vice president, former California senator, still kind of young in comparison to Trump and Biden, and
sitting California governor?
Yeah, exactly. And at that point, governor, I do think it makes sense. I do think, though, if Trump is popular in any shape or form, like above or at, like slightly above where he was in his first term or above where Biden was, then I don't think she makes sense, because you just need someone who speaks to a different audience and a different voter base in the Democratic
Party. I think at that
Party.
point the Dems are just kind of toasted. If he has like a 46% approval rating heading into that election, actually, I don't know. Who knows? We'll see.
Well, one more thing on Kamala's political future. I agree with you that like she shouldn't run if the approval rating's like solid around the midterms or whatever. My kind of take is, I don't know what she personally will do, but I don't really see a scenario very clearly in my head where she chooses to run for president in 2028 and doesn't get the nomination. Do you guys see a scenario where that doesn't happen? I feel like it would be so easy for her to coalesce. Maybe if Trump is really popular, there could be like Dem voters are more scared to like go back, but I think if she goes in there, she's so popular with the base. She has all this support.
No, I think so too. Yeah. She
How,
does have
early
like
polls.
real support within the base. Like that is a real thing. Like there is energy in the base for her.
And there's not like a clear opposition that would make like a very clear argument.
Yeah.
Not like a moderate lean necessarily.
Like I could see Bernie
progressive
endorse
lane.
her.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know who like the Bernie candidate would be, and does Josh Shapiro have that different of a lean as
I think
she does?
AOC
I mean,
would probably endorse her too. I mean, they were like,
yeah.
I
I
don't,
mean,
yeah.
I don't think she's gonna run against Kamala from the left. Like, I don't think AOC is gonna do that. So, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I've not looked at numbers at all. Obviously, I think all those numbers are probably way too early, anyways.
They are too
I-
early.
I do think like you are coming off of a defeat where a lot of people expected Kamala to win. Probably is a lot of empathy that people have with her, but I just also feel like the sense that I've gotten is that like, yes, a lot of people don't really blame her, but also she was part of this historically unpopular administration. And also there are parts of her personality and her as a politician that are just not very likable. Her presence in a lot of speeches and her,
I think she
I
got
don't know,
better
I think-
as time went on.
I do think she got better. I
And
just
she'll have another training run with the governor's race
California.
potentially.
I think she's
Yeah.
a lot more comfortable here.
Yeah, I do feel like it would be it would feel like a return to the establishment quo, like status quo. I feel like it would be in like a populist era. I just something about it just feels
I don't know.
wrong.
She
and
was
I
a
feel like
populist in like 20. I don't know.
Well, I
She
thought
was a
something interesting in the campaign that she didn't really pull out until the last few weeks, so it wasn't really a real message, but I thought it was interesting. She started talking about how I spent most of my career not in Washington, like I'm not part of the establishment.
Yeah, she did do that.
And I wonder if she could lean on that a little more of being like, I don't know, like what's going on in DC and all this dysfunction that there's been
I'm
in the
here
last
fixing
few
California.
years.
We're
Like,
fixing up the
I'm
mess.
focused on California. Like, I'm not in this establishment that's creating all this like chaos over the last few years. So I wonder if she could lean on that messaging.
I think this
again,
all goes back to like what we all I think agree on is like circumstance and how popular the Trump Vance administration are.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what it goes back to. And I think
there's only so much of a difference that you can make from like any of these like,
It
candidate
really-
perspectives. It comes down to the tides.
yeah, I think she's definitely gonna. I just don't see a scenario where she doesn't run for governor. I just don't.
Well, it's funny. You have convinced me though, because I was thinking of it as like run for governor or run for president, and that's how she's thinking of it. But I like your take of like if she runs for governor, probably baseline scenario, maybe she's setting herself up for 2032. But it's like if the approval ratings are bad and it looks like there's a lane, like I can
She
easily
jumps in and
speed
cruises.
this up. Yeah.
And like again the
can see
media
that.
attention she'd garner running for governor would be she'd be the most high profile governor. Person running for
and because of that, I think
office.
she's absolutely going to run. I'm convinced of it.
Oh, yeah.
Bovada put those betting odds up for me. I need to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean we'll see.
I think it is more. It's the more question is will she run in 2028? I do think I agree. She'll probably will run. Like fuck the lieutenant governor, whoever she is, the successor of Gavin.
Hey,
Newsom.
that's our first like Asian woman like.
It's the lowest name rec field ever. I was like blown away looking through it. But
Besides John Fetterman in Pennsylvania when he was lieutenant governor, he was kind of well known.
true.
Yeah, he
Which
was
is
well
funny
known
because I
during
think
that time.
lieutenant governor for Pennsylvania is like it's like a fake job compared to. I think California is elected directly, but Pennsylvania it's like vice president. Like you run on the governor's ticket. So
No, I think California. I think you also run on the governor's ticket.
Do you?
If I'm
Okay.
not,
Well,
I
never
don't
mind. Maybe
remember
that's the case,
voting.
like
I
everywhere,
don't
but-
remember voting for lieutenant governor unless I just.
I don't really either, but I don't know.
I don't think I would have
maybe
left that blank either.
did. You're protesting.
But we'll see, man. I think that she. I don't know. Again, it's like all circumstances. God knows what happens.
Well, it's
I
so
know.
early. It'll be fascinating to see how the next few months unfold. I think there's so many unknowns and like so many different political
much.
actors that it's gonna be so interesting to see what they do. Like how does Kamala position herself? And
Yeah,
I think right now, just she needs to be focused on like the fires, and she is, which is the right thing to do from a moral standpoint, and just kind of focus on like take some time away from the media, and then start focusing on California, which she already has started.
yeah, she'll probably announce like near May, I would guess, if she's gonna do it, or at least we'll get some rumblings.
I think longer, no? I think maybe a little bit later. She can announce.
I'm
like,
sure
end
we'll
of-
get
end
like
of
a
this
little bit
year,
of
yeah.
rumblings. Yeah, there'll be some reporting. Well,
I don't-
also will know because I'm sure people are not going to want to jump in the race and then immediately have to jump out.
I was reading
run,
that
like,
so many people are just like waiting on that right now. They
Yeah,
just-
I'm sure. So I'm sure she'll indicate a little bit to some people, especially the establishment types. But
Yeah, it's a good point.
yeah, it'll be a shit show for the next 4 years. We'll see. Maybe 8.
We'll see.
Fingers crossed, not 8.
Stay tuned for a really good episode that's going to come out next week. We're going to be analyzing the Trump administration first week with a really special guest. He's an awesome guy, but you have to come back to see who that is. I don't think Dylan and Ben know.
Yes.
I think Ben, you know who I'm talking about.
I know a little bit. Lots of very exciting guests in the next few weeks.
Yeah,
So
Marianne Williamson might be on soon.
Yes, and maybe some elected officials. We might. We're moving up in the world, so stay tuned to the Brogressive feed. We're excited.
Yeah, I mean, thank you guys for watching this episode. As always, please follow us. We're now on Instagram at Brogressive Podcast. Is it Brogressive Podcast? Am I right?
I believe so. It might be pod, but let me double check as you continue.
I'll double check. But follow us on Twitter, Brogressive Podcast. I think it's that too. YouTube, same thing. Spotify, you can listen to us on. And we're occasionally on Apple Music and
we anywhere you can get podcasts there, we are on there now.
We're everywhere, guys.
Yeah, I get email notifications of like comments from podcast websites I've never heard of, but apparently there's people listening on all sorts of podcast feeds. Yes, and I can confirm the Instagram is Brogressive Podcast. So
Brogressive Podcast.
We have some real content.
And message us.
Yes, and we had to make an Instagram quick in case that was the new TikTok content. But alas, we will not have to succumb to Instagram Reels. But still, check it out if you are a Reels enjoyer. There is some content there. So.
And if you're a Reels enjoyer, I think you have some issue. I'm kidding.
That's
we
me.
love Instagram Reels. We love Instagram Reels, but
yes,
all brain rot.
We accept it all.
Are welcome. Yes,
at the Brogressive Podcast experience. But thank you guys for watching. Have a great week and stay tuned for our next episode, guys. And also comment down below or send us messages of your guys' predictions. Let's see if you guys could beat our predictions and see, if our audience is better at predicting football games than us, which probably is very likely. Bye, guys. Have a great week. And
thank you.